Hey, hello, and welcome to the Feel Strong Fitness Podcast. My name is Justin McClintock, and today we are going to talk about a major part of how Feel Strong works. I get asked two questions on a very regular basis, especially by other fitness professionals, but by all kinds of people. And it's the how and the why. The how is, how do you create unique programs for individuals? How do you find the way to meet people exactly where they are and get them to what their goals are? The other is the why. And I always find this a really interesting question. Why, as a fitness movement lifestyle coach, not just write a few really good programs and then sell them to the world? I mean, after all, doesn't everyone just need to squat, hinge, push, pull, rotate, jump, sprint to look, feel, and perform the way they want to? The answer to both lies in the model that we use at Feel Strong, and it's one which demands that we see more than just movement. The framework we utilize for every client is the biopsychosocial model. This is a concept where we assess each individual as a whole and then approach each person with the understanding that their body and their mind are interconnected. People are complex, and especially when you're trying to solve for setbacks and challenges, pain, illness, disability, amongst others, you must recognize these things are always multidimensional. They are always multifactorial. So there's a blending of the elements of your biology, your psychology, and your surrounding social components that make up you as an individual. You are not your MRI or your X-ray. You are not your blood work. You're not your diagnosis. You're not your past performances. You're a person. You're unique, and you are a lot more than a series of mechanical components. This is the real spirit of the biopsychosocial model. The model has three components. This might be obvious, but to be clear, bio meaning biological, the human body, its anatomy, psycho meaning psychological, and this includes your thoughts, your emotions, and behaviors. And the third is social, and this is accounting for environmental, cultural, and community-based factors. And truly, this is more than a framework. It really is a philosophy of understanding the whole individual and having a person first focus over a myopic issue first focus. Now, you may absolutely have certain medical and anatomical elements or issues that are influencing how you feel. We appreciate that. We also need to appreciate that there are elements, albeit harder to measure, which are just as important. Your emotions, your perspectives, your history, your experiences, your personality can and will all dictate and influence your ability to handle any health and movement issues you encounter. We all have complex backgrounds that affect the way we perceive and interact with the world. We have expectations, we have goals, fears, all built upon our own very unique experiences and stories. In order to make sure that we're doing good work at Feel Strong, we have to zoom out to try to encompass all of these factors for every client, or else we seriously risk missing the big picture. I think an example is called for. Let's use what would seem to be something pretty straightforward and obvious. In this example, you just broke your leg. Not very fun, right? But on the surface, a broken bone is the most straightforward, biological, unifactorial diagnosis in the world. It really doesn't get much more anatomical than a broken bone. But with a broken leg, we must also consider what impact can that have on our psychological and social well-being? How is the pain influencing you? How is it influencing your sleep, your rest, your recovery? What about your diet and your eating habits? Is surgery going to be needed? If so, how will you manage the rehabilitation process? How is this injury going to affect your work and your family life? Will loved ones need to do more or harder work that you're now unable to help with? How are you going to feel if you're removed from being able to do activities and things with your friends and community? How will you feel if you can't be as involved with the community or with certain events? How confident are you you'll be able to return to high impact activities like running and jumping? How important are these things to you? This list could go on, but hopefully the point is clear. What at first appears to be a very simple issue is in fact deeply complex and may have a broad impact across your life. Sadly, it's never as simple as we make it out to be. If we understand and accept that fact, however, we can take the first step toward creating a real plan for it. The biopsychosocial model branches out into every facet of Feel Strong: our message, our mission, and most importantly, the approach with which we serve our clients. Addressing the underlying stories and roadblocks holding our clients back, leveraging the necessary resources we have available to work through them, these are a major part of what makes Feel Strong hum. I strongly suggest you try to zoom out on issues you may be facing right now. In what ways are these issues impacting my biology? What about my psychology? How about my social factors? Doing this can not only guide you toward the appropriate solution, but sometimes highlight how much of a priority working to resolve some of these issues really should be. You will see the true impact they can be having in your life. So you don't just accept and live with something that has potential to cause real issues later on. The biopsychosocial model is an incredibly important part of how Feel Strong works, and it's truly the foundation that this whole thing is built on. If you want to learn more about this, if you want to dig in, if you have questions, anything at all, please do not hesitate to reach out. I love talking about this stuff, especially if you are a client hearing this and you aren't positive how your program is supporting this. I would love to unpack and explain it because all of them do. I hope this is useful. I hope this is valuable. My name is Justin McClintock. Feel strong.